Hey gang, Scott here. I've got a live edit for you today. Live is in air quotes. I'm not streaming. I'm taking a photo I've never worked on and going through my process from start to finish. Just turn on record and see where the photo takes us. Normally I do these videos along with an in the field video, and the reason I'm not doing that this time is I was just hosting a small workshop here in San Diego, one field outing with a group. And when I'm doing a workshop, I do not do behind the scenes video of all that kind of stuff, because that means I'm not working with the people in the workshop and I'm worrying about filming. But I did want to do a live edit. It's been a while since I've done one, and this is fresh off the camera. Less than 24 hours as I'm recording this here. So this is a very new photo. I thought we'd just go into a live edit here and just bang away here. So this is the photo. This is one at the very tail end, and I just liked the action of the water and the gesture of this other photographer who had climbed out on this different rock there. And so let's begin here. The very first thing is, in this particular frame, the left-hand side of the photo is fundamentally meaningless. So I want to just crop that away and really not care about any of it. And then press the L key twice on the keyboard in Lightroom, and just that to me is much better. And now I'm just fine-tuning it, so there is a good third. There's a nice diagonal. These are crossing in a nice way. Let's go ahead and fix the horizon while we're here. Yeah, let's see. Can I expand that? Not anymore, because I'm nudged up against the top. Let's see here. Like that, that's looking good. Okay, let's press enter on that. L key one more time so I can see what's going on. We'll check our profiles here. Landscape. I usually will poke around at the camera matching ones as well. And I like the profile browser because I can hover. Portrait actually kind of had a nice softer feel to it, a little bit too soft. Standard. Clear is too crunchy. I will stick with what I had with Adobe Landscape. And let's hit auto on all of those things here and see how we do. It's this is definitely a warm, cool situation. It was a little bit of a warmer feel out there. That sunset was really holding on for a long time, and kept some warm reflections in the foreground. And that's something, first mental note, is a little exposure balance is going to have to happen here. I want to add a little more warmth into that foreground. This is still very, very blue given what's going on in the sky there. Let's see, a little texture, touch of clarity, and I think that will be okay for the basics. Some other mental notes is I want to completely silhouette this photographer, so I can kind of make out the features of his arms and so forth. I want that to be completely silhouetted, so we'll do some targeted work there. But let's check one more thing, our dust spots. So Q key, A to show me the psychedelic overlay of of whatever we want to call this. But it doesn't look like I have any massive dust spots. That was a cloud up there. Yep. Okay, so that's looking all right. Q key to turn that off. Let's get into fixing up some of this exposure here. I'll start with temperature, something a little warmer. I don't need that much. Stage my brush or my gradient there. Add a little warmth, and now we'll tinker. A little warmth and probably a little more of raising the exposure. That just feels more balanced. And I'm going to apologize if you're hearing a dog bark in the background because it's warm today and my windows are open in other spots near the studio. So if you're hearing the dog bark, sorry about that, but the trials and tribulations of a live video here. Okay, so that's looking good, and now as I've exposed, it looks like we've got a little thing to fix up down here. So let's go ahead and fix that. That should be a single click, and that one's something Lightroom can handle. Now that I'm close in on the sand, maybe that little bit looks like a distraction, so we'll turn off those. That looks good. All right, let's hit done on that. Zoom back out. A couple more things to do here. The warmth still feels a little bit off. I want that to be a little warmer. I'm gonna push it really far. And I kind of nudge it back a little bit. Also, the whites in the surf, I want those to get a punch. And talked about the silhouetted photographer up there. I want to make that really silhouetted. So let's use a radial, and we'll do just a straight burn for that. So first I'll just draw kind of a ellipse over this photographer and leverage a range mask, luminance, show that, and then just take it away from the highlights. We really only need the photographer to be silhouetted, and it can be a pretty low number on the smoothness because there's a good what do you want to call it, a good difference in tone between his body and the rest of the scene. So now that we have that, we can take the exposure on that down, decrease the shadows. Let's zoom up on in there. Yeah, there we go. See, it's getting nice and dark. Now that's probably a little bit too dark. That looks a little bit artificial. You know, if I push it down too far, it's going to really creep into the surf too. So maybe there. And that's good. I like that. That's feeling pretty good. Okay. We'll call that one good. And now for the surf. Let's see here. Let's get this much of the scene in play. We can use a gradient for this. This will be a pretty large area, so gradients are good to cover large areas. So I'm covering everything. If I hover on that for a minute, you'll see the green overlay I've got on is everything underneath. I don't want everything. Let's stage our adjustments here. We're going to do a lighten, and we're going to target that surf. So luminance range mask again, and this time I don't want to touch the shadows. We just want to start seeing those flecks of white in that surf. You know, like that. And now maybe we'll take our gradient, fade it out a little bit. So like that. Now we'll start playing that with the visuals on here. Yeah, let's see. There we go. Something like that. Let me zoom out so I can see the whole scene here. Before those gradient changes and after, you can see definitely how the foreground is much more alive than it was previously. And speaking of the foreground, I'm returning to the crop. Maybe tighten that up on the bottom a little bit. Felt a little heavy on the amount of sand that was there. That's not particularly interesting. Just enough context for a viewer to think, yeah, I'm standing on this beach. I get a feel for what's going on. And this is the scene that I'm taking in. All things considered, I think I'm going to be finished with this photo. Let's do a backslash key. Before and after. Feels ever so slightly too crispy. I'm going to take that clarity down and stick just with texture. Let's try before and after. And now what about that before and after on the clarity? Let's open up clarity. Okay. That was my crop as before the clarity. Well, let's say before is I have clarity added. After is I've softened that up. Before and after. Okay. I thought I was done, but I think I like the clarity on the sand, giving that a little bit extra crispness on the sand, just not on the surf. So we'll zoom in down here. One more gradient. This time I'll drag upward. Okay. And this might be good for a color range mask. Color. I'll just click and drag a box here like that. And let's hover on the pin there. Well, maybe I'll hit the O key to give me a better idea of what's going on with that range. That's better. I'm losing it out there, but that's not the important part. Okay. Wrong button there. O, and now we have not an exposure. We want to do a clarity. And maybe not so strong. So we'll just kind of inch it up a little bit. And it's just accenting that little golden glow that's going on down here. So if I zero out clarity before, undo after. Just that little touch. I like that. That's I'm going to hope that comes through on the video. I know that's a challenge with my editing style and YouTube and compression. Do these small subtle things and then they add up. I'm going to hope that one's coming through. Let's see, what else am I noticing here now is this little, I'm guessing it's a string of seaweed or something. Let's get a Q key and see if I create a very high feather on that, if we can smooth that out. And that's pretty passable. That was pretty good. Yeah, thankfully that soft surf is letting that happen. Good, all right. Zoom back out. All right, now I think we're finished. So there we go. That's the live edit all finished. I hope you enjoyed watching over my shoulder while I was doing this photo. And if you've got questions, go ahead and drop them below. Sometimes when I'm doing the live edit, I will miss a step or skip something, not because I mean to, but as I'm thinking about verbalizing what I'm doing, it does take brain power, and so sometimes I forget a step or two. So if you notice something like, hey, Scott, why didn't you do this? Drop a question down there. It might be because I just forgot about it, and hopefully by the time you're watching this, I've realized it and corrected any of those mistakes. But until next time, my name's Scott Davenport. Have fun.